you right now. You've got to go and sit on the shelf. I have other things I have to pay attention to.
Shifting your focus.
Mm.
Good morning, Jabril.
Mm.
Good morning, beautiful souls.
Good morning, Jabril.
Syndrome.
Welcome to Fireside.
Mm.
I feel the warmth while the snow piles up outside.
Oh.
I just want to correct myself. It's not about controlling the fear, like I said earlier. It's more about acknowledging it.
Yes, that's a really good word to use, I think, too.
Ooh, fear? You talking about fear?
Please,
Ooh.
please join in.
I had an insight. What's today? Monday, Saturday. Yeah. I was reading a very interesting I guess it's a book on the game of life and how to play it. And I found it last night on YouTube.
Oh, that's Frances. Is that Catherine
Yes.
Frances
Yes.
Gogolship?
Mm-hmm.
She's amazing.
She is. And it's I finally got my whole desk cleaned off.
Oh, that's fantastic, Sandra. Well done.
And I've got my Bible there. I've got my personal development reading, that things I really want to read, and my journal.
I'll celebrate that with you.
I'm celebrating
Yeah.
clarity. Okay, I digress. So in her writings, because I love that, she's got the scriptural base, and it's not like preachy or anything. It's like this is what you're made of, and these are the laws of our existence that we don't know. Even though we say we know the Bible or we read the Bible, but the Bible to me has been taught more like a tool of control and saturating you to think that you don't have control. But the way she writes it, it's like, oh, you damn well do have power, and the control that you're adhering to. Flip the coin, is you that have the control, not you that have to adhere to control. So anyway, about fear, that if I call myself believing in an ultimate creator, and I personally do, whether it's I refer to that integration of knowing my creator, it is my super consciousness. But it did not create me to be weighed down and controlled by the gravity of the world, but really to know that point of demarcation that I'm way above the world. So anyway, coming back to fear, trying to get this fear thing out, that you're either functioning from the weighted gravity of one minute element of earthly creation, which is fear. Because if you don't know you can have a whole pie, you only think you can have an anchovy off of it. That's scarcity. But it's like my world's been, I've been adhering to a world that I'm just a piece, I can only be on a piece and have a piece of anchovy or pepperoni, whatever your preference is. And when really the pie is there just to say, this is an example of what you have to work with versus being my whole world. And fear, you're either with God or you're not. And so when I think in scarcity, when I have one minute grain of limitation functioning as my basis of existence, then I am not functioning out of the fullness of creation that I am and yet to discover. I am functioning out of fear. And if you're not living out of abundance, then you're living out of fear. And if you're not living out of abundance, then you're not living out of the fullness of the creation that you are. So it's that you either with God or you with the devil. I'm like, I ain't supporting, and I say devil as an element or school of thought, not as some entity that's controlling me. But my thought, like with these calls, my thought opens my expansion to not just live on a piece of the anchovy that I live with the whole world. And there's scarcity. But damn it, I got the anchovy, I got the cheese, I got all the other toppings, I got the plate, I got the restaurant, I got the city. All of these resources are available to me, but I didn't know it. Now, I worked in inner city schools for a long time, and I will not forget, I was able to persevere and have my kids participate in Special Olympics and a bunch of other stuff because those resources were available, but I didn't know that those resources available initially. I stumbled upon it. And then, as the teacher, I had to push the boundaries of the school in order to use those resources. And on one of the trips, now these kids have lived in DC all their lives. They're in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. Some of those kids had never been on a bus. Some of those kids had never been in a car. And when I took them to a horse ranch or to the White House or whatever, they were like, you would have think I took them to Mars, because they had never been anywhere. And that's our brains. It's like we must allow our thoughts go further. And they say, so the saying goes, most of us attribute goodness to this. As a man thinketh, so is he. But when we don't have exposure to go beyond the boundaries we know, then we're thinking like really, really, really small, because no matter how far we go, there's more to go. And if we pick up on limitation and we use that as excuses, and we feed our limited exposure, don't go beyond the veil, don't ask those questions, be seen and not heard, have feelings that you don't express or understand or question. It just is what it is. That's fear. That's not living as we were created to live. And if you're not living in abundance and your behavior is functioning to the limitations of fear, then you're not receiving the inheritance of your existence just because you exist, because that's how you're made. And no matter what you find out about how you're made, oh baby, you're even more than that. That's why it's important to explore. That's why this format here is so important, where we get to play and explore and tickle the boundary instead of fearing it, and then taking time to integrate it into our beingness.
It was amazing share and a
Yes.
wonderful insight here. And what and how did the shift came for you, Sidra?
The shift came in little things, right?
Mm.
Little shifts, little hinges swing big doors.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm looking at my desk, let me see, it was like that since Thanksgiving. Little things. So I'm looking at my desk, I had all this stuff on it. One thing that kind of hinge, I couldn't ignore anymore the want that I wanted. I want my desk clean. I want my desk clean because I imagine myself, wow, it would be cool to get up. I have my Bible right there. I was able to determine how I wanted to read my Bible. Something came to me. So I was listening to a podcast. It came to me. Okay, read a proverb every day and then read it again every day. Because I've been asking for wisdom. I've been asking from the depths of my beingness. I was like, look, I know life is better than this. I must need the wisdom. Like all the experiences that I've had, it can't just be experience, things that happened in a chronological event of time. Out of those things are wisdom. So I have to allow myself to stand accountable for the wisdom. So you gotta need to study your stuff, the good, the bad, the indifference, and do it without judgment. Do it with awareness. So back to the desk, one little hinge, right? That piece of knowledge, right? So it just came to me. Read one if it's today's the first, read Proverbs 1. Today's the second, read Proverbs 2. So I've got plenty of Bibles. So I got one that I write in and another one that I just read in. I don't write in that one. But if I see something in the one I read in with the nice big print, I'll write in the other one that I've been scribbling in over the years, circling and underlining and what have you. I got that set up. Then I have my journal. I said, I know it's good to journal, but I wouldn't do it. If you know these things, then why don't you do them? The reason I wasn't doing them, and I got to send you guys this thing, is called PQ assessment, has really opened me up to be aware of my thinking. So then I was like, it may seem simple to some folks, like it's not a big deal to clean my desk off, but it gave my head space to integrate and study for wisdom. And that's empowering. Is me living at cause versus me living at effect, like everything's affecting me.
You weren't only cleaning your desk, you were cleaning your mind also at the same time.
Absolutely. But what was happening when I wasn't cleaning my desk? a whole different integration had to happen inside of me with the backdrop of the other things that I've been asking for that has been coming to me, that finally it's like a domino effect that finally got to the point where I can wake up and look at my desk and it's clear and it's ready to receive me, to do my reading, to do my journaling. I've done something for me that nobody else can do. I made a choice. I took an action. Now I'm breeding awareness on what can we say, like organic food, nutritionally dense wisdom space, a place to consume it. So by the time I leave my desk and I'm going throughout my day, I can't unknow what I've learned. And then I see those words and that wisdom playing out in my action. What does that do? It keeps my attitude elevated. It keeps my perspective elevated. Oh, just because I got a notice in the mail that some crap is not is like an issue. It does, the circumstance doesn't control me. I'm at cause. So then instead of being in fear of the notice that I got that I owe some money for doing something, it's like, oh, okay. Well, they think this. Well, guess what? My thoughts are just as important. So yes, I am doing an appeal. But I don't, it doesn't throw my day into a spin of being how they, and I don't even want to say it too loud, Lord, universe forgive me, I'm just using this for an example, being careful of my words, of saying what this is a problem. One thing, is it really a problem? It's just a circumstance. We take those words indifferently, right? This is, instead of saying this is a problem, now I'm like, oh, this is a circumstance. Instead of being a victim of the circumstance, like the world's, what else can go wrong? I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. They don't control me. This is what I think, and this is what I'm going to say. And it's not going to take me 3 days to do it. It's just like click, 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 click. It don't have to be perfect. I'm not writing an essay that I have to get an A on to get points in college. No, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. And because of that, I am appealing this charge. Boom, boom, boom. And then I sent the copy of it to the person who paid for everything, who took care of the room at this Airbnb. So I'm like, look, this is what I got. This is how I replied. What are you going to do to take care of it? I don't want my name on this thing. Now, just a month ago, I would have stewed on that thing until the appeal date would have been right on me. Then, but all of that time, it's building and is laying a stress factor in me. It's something I got to do. Something else is wrong. What else can go wrong? I can't even do that because I need to do this, and I can't do this because the way I feel like a victim or fear. So little hinges swing big doors.
Wow.
Cleaning a desk off. Now it's reading wisdom. I asked for wisdom. Wisdom came to me in the pattern of reading these proverbs, and it's integrating my perspective with being a super conscious genius. Then it brought me to how to play life, how to play life and win at it. Now this stuff that I think I must have read some of it many, many years ago. Now it's like, oh, I'm like David and Goliath. I'm, I got the stones and I know how to throw them. And even if I don't, all I got to do is swing it. Little hinges swing big doors. It's like, oh, we playing. Go ahead, please.
Feels like you'll also get a whole new perspective of the Bible after all the work we've been doing by analyzing the words. So it'll give you a whole new meaning.
It's freedom, baby. Freedom.
Yeah.
It's freedom regardless of the circumstances.
Mm.
It's freedom. Because you know how we ask, what do you want? Why? What do you want? Why? What do you want? Why? And I was grounded on the anchovy of wanting money, right? But is it really money that you want? Or what do you want money for? Well, I want money so I can pay my bills. And what will that do for you? Oh, well, then I won't have that stress building up. And well, what would that do for you? Well, I'll be able to think better. What would that do for you? Well, you know, then I can make some choices out of what I want. Well, what would that do for you? Choices. I would choose, instead of just choosing a piece of existence on the anchovy, I might jump over here and have some pepperoni. I might play around and have some cheese. Hell, I might jump off the pizza and even, want a nice freshly baked red snapper stuffed with shrimp. I mean, it's options. What is that? That would give me freedom. What would that give you, Cindy? What would that give you? And I challenge you all to ask yourself, whatever you want, what would that give you? That would give me personal self-expression without judgment and limitation. That would be living life abundantly.
That's beautiful.
And just to be able to think it. Thank you, Allison. Just being able to ask the questions and not be afraid of where I am with the answers is also freedom. Because once you want what you want, you can't unwant it until you've explored the experience to have it. But I would have never said I wanted to go to Portugal because I didn't believe I would ever get there. I'd be just like the kids in the city, never being on the bus and knowing I could go places because I didn't know it was really possible for me. But just because I can think it, want it, there's no reason not to believe it. I'm just going to have some circumstances to overcome in my mind. I have to be willing to give up my old thinking, my old pattern, my old operating system, and be okay with challenging it and it integrating with something greater than my current existence to become. And I asked 2012, I would say I asked the question and I finally got an answer that I go, oh, wow. And I asked, and I didn't expect the answer to be the kind of answer that I have. I couldn't even conceive it.
Yeah.
I asked, how many times must I die again to be born, to live the way I'm called to be? And the Bible tells you you die every day. But I was not dying every day and letting the dead bury the dead. I was dying, waking up like I didn't know nothing and carrying all the years of my life of circumstances in a satchel bag over my shoulder, of the weight, the hurt, the disappointment, the bad feelings, not feeling worthy, not feeling capable. Now, I felt a lot of great things, but I didn't carry the great things. I didn't carry the celebrations. I carried all the negative shit. I was like Santa Claus that had a big old bag full of the year's junk. Not only last year's bag, but the year before that. And when you look back over my shoulders was getting heavy. Like all of the bad things justified my life. When I stepped over into 2025, I visualized that bag on my shoulder. And it was a long bag. It was a long bag. It's the tricks that I allowed life to play on me because I just wouldn't ask the questions. And I didn't mean to take over the whole conversation, but I've grown so much this weekend. Oh my God. So I visualized carrying these long, bumpy, ugly, gargoyle shaped, just heavy bags. And somebody sent me a text. It said, right before 12 o'clock, stand on your left foot. So I visualized that and I did it. I physically did it. I stood up and I added for myself carrying these Santa Claus bags over my shoulder. And then they said at the strike of 12, stand on only your left foot. And at the strike of 12, put your foot down, your right foot down. Then it said, now you're starting off on the right foot. And when I put my right foot down, I dropped that bag in 2024. How many times must you die again to live? I let all them bags just went like disintegrated. And I refuse. You can't celebrate weighted down.
No.
So what I'm hearing, what I'm hearing is the way to get out of limiting beliefs is by asking questions, right?
For me, yeah. And allowing yourself not to be afraid of what your true answer is. And sometimes
our true answer is what we choose to feel in the here and now.
One way the answers don't really matter. You can always ask a new question afterward.
Yeah.
That's where the possibilities is in the questions.
Yes. But sometimes we're afraid of the truth of the answer, because sometimes the truth is letting go of bags, letting go of marriages, letting go of relationships, letting go of jobs, letting go of ideals that you know that have just been, but not relevant. Relevant maybe when we were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, but it's not relevant. And even if it was relevant, letting go that it's not relevant anymore. And that's sometimes scary to do. Because we think we have our life and our being in these things that we thought were relevant, because we never even questioned them.
Sorry, Sandal, go.
I'll just say, don't lose your thoughts. It's Dorothy not being afraid to pull the curtain back and find out that the wizard is just a little man, she's just as powerful as the one back there.
Yes. What I was going to say was it's letting go of our identities, right?
Yes. Yes. And taking responsibility that we are responsible for the identity that we perpetuate.
Yes.
That's the scary part.
Yes. But that's also where the power lies.
Yes. Yes.
We
thing-
all play our parts in this theater of life. Huh?
Yes.
Mm. Mm.
So what role would you like to take on us? What would you like to play?
For that moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
In that set of circumstances.
And being willing to take the time to say, well, what do you want it to be?
Mm-hmm.
What action do you have to take to act like that's what you want it to be? Stop acting like something that doesn't go with what you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
That means you have to get off the couch and do something different. And it could be the littlest thing.
Exactly. And appreciate that and celebrate that littlest thing.
Yeah. Yes. Celebrate good times. Come on. And celebrating it because it's the best thing in the world. It's the teeniest hinge. Nobody would even know. Nobody even heard that squeaking of the hinge. Not even you, because you got so used to it being a squeaky, rusty hinge, when really it just need to be moved and lubricated and wanted and desired to not be stuck, and the courage to move it anyway. And it's just a shift of thought that shifts the view, that shifts the action, that releases the statues where the dead is. Yesterday is dead. You can't go back into it and redo it. Physically. Metaphysically, you can. So when you release all of those old bags, you they just disintegrate with all of the yesterdays of time. And I came up with a question. The question that I'm meditating on now is, if I only had 2 weeks to live, but I had all of the resources at the world available to me, which is my mind, would I live, let my mind sit on the couch and be stuck and worry about regrets and yesteryears? Or would I live to the fullest? And that fullest can be different for every and anybody, but it is the state of mind and the state of action and the state of love and being loved, and not worrying about love coming back to you, just being love.
Yes.
That is the answer to everything. But it first starts with loving yourself in the freedom of your existence and being okay that nobody else is responsible
Yeah.
for the abundance of your life. Yes, Allison?
No, I was agreeing with you.
And I was thinking about you, Allison, because you were saying you weren't feeling well and this and that and the other. And I saw this book on my shelf. It's called Health and Science. And the books that's next to it is called Distant Healing.
Yes.
And I imagine you, and I looked this up. I was trying to get a replay because I missed some days of this call. I don't know why I have a difficult time finding it, but in one of them, your picture comes up. You're on the video. And I had an intention for your well-being. And then I was doing something else because I had that intention. I now know and believe that's why I was able to get your picture. And then later on in the afternoon, that book came to my mind. I was like, oh, Allison, oh, let me play Distant Healing. Let me play with that. And I imagine your belly button. And I imagine the chakra that sits in your chest. I just allowed myself to trust whatever came to me. That worry would go away for you and that you would just surrender to healing. And that the light in your belly button would just, no big deal, just dispel anything that was holding you. And I turned it on myself, that same light, because my stomach has been doing a thing. I said, oh, we're one. So I induced the healing for you because I know that I can turn on my compassion for others like so instantly. And then I turned that compassion of healing over to myself. And I bonded with you to feel the healing for me, for you, for you, for me, because where two or more are gathered, there also will I be, and that we would simultaneously benefit from the healing. And so would our environments. With the thought of mine. And then I was at peace with it. Like I just, let it radiate out.
That's amazing. So what you've described is exactly what I had as a visual in my head when you were talking earlier about self-love. And we started the group off this morning with that as well. And what happens when there is enough self-compassion and the impact that you can have on others, right? And when others get to experience their own self-compassion, the field, the vibrational field that develops from that is multiple times. And so in your describing this distant healing and allowing the healing to take place in you as well, that is so, so, so powerful. And thank you for including me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
It's like the ripple effect.
Yes, exactly, Heinz.
The bigger you work with yourself, the bigger splash you create, the more ripples.
Yeah.
The ripples will be. So you need to make yourself as big as possible.
this, I put something in the chat. This grab that, if you will. That is that's had a big impact on me. I'm working with this now and exploring it, to using it as a coaching tool. And
Saboteurs.
It's an assessment. And I'll show you this as well. Just, I mean, stuff has just been like coming together for me in such a enlightening way. Oh, here it is. This thing is, they keep upgrading these things here. Send this picture. You see that picture? I didn't paint this, by the way. I found it online, and it kind of stuck with me.
I didn't get a picture.
Yeah, no, me neither, not yet.
It's probably, yeah, it takes time to come through. Oh, she had to leave. But what it says is, it's a picture of James Baldwin, a writer. And it says, you can't change anything until you face it. Nothing can be changed until it is faced. And that assessment for me, it exposed my stinking thinking.
Thinking.
That's so wonderful, Sindra. I just want to say something to, like, your essence. For me, it's always been so evident, that today it's like I felt I was hearing all of you. That's what I felt today with you.
Can you say that again for me, please?
Yes. So your essence for me has always been so evident. And it always, like, the way in which I experienced your essence was this ball of fireworks, in a way, these continual sparks of light. But today, I got to experience all of you. Well, not but, and today.
Wow.
Thinking about that, but and you caught it.
I did.
Wow.
I've got to beat Jesse, Hans. Otherwise he'll catch it. It's the most wonderful experience to witness the growth in people, right?
Yeah, it is. It is a wonderful witnessing.
Mm.
And it's wonderful to witness yourself being born.
Yes. To experience yourself, right? To experience all of you.
Yeah.
All of what we are. That came up yesterday as well.
the vibe. I must have been picking up on the vibe of the conversation because.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
I think that does happen.
Yes. Yes. Like sometimes I'm not in position to get to you guys because I gotta follow what I'm following. Like it's like where is this taking me?
It's so important that.
Yeah.
But I've told people about, like, not too many, because some people just, like they say, everybody doesn't deserve or need a front seat on my bus of life. So, some people, they get what their giving gives to get. Where before I used to just give everything to everybody, and that's a waste. Don't do that.
That's been my experience too. Yeah.
What you say?
Lots of people wouldn't understand this because they don't work with themselves. So how could they understand themselves?
Yeah.
Exactly.
There are different things for people at different times in their lives, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I've been praying for wisdom. I had to get conscious to pray for wisdom. And when I say pray, it's to want it. When you pray for something, it's something that you want. It's letting yourself want. It's letting yourself know that there's a yearning and letting yourself yearn. To the point where you take ownership for doing something about it. Even sometimes it's something as simple as and yet powerful as saying no to something or somebody else. No, you do not get to be my voice. No, you do not get to answer for me. I may not have the answer, but no, you do not get to answer for me.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I assume the position of not forging an answer that you or someone else just wants because that's what you think you want, but it's not my answer. And even if I don't have the answer, I'm willing to sit with the question until
like
I have.
Like you said earlier, you had a question in 12 that you got an answer to in 2025. 13 years for the answer.
Yeah.
Some answers take time.
Some walls had to be broken down for me to get to the answer. When the student is ready, the teacher shows up.
Ooh, I became host now. Ooh, I've got the power.
Yes, baby.
There you go.
And it's finding out you have the power.
Yeah, but I like to share it.
You like sharing it?
Yeah, sharing is caring.
I'm going to have to go, guys. I'm really sad to leave you.
Take
Oh,
us
I
with
lost the
you.
power again.
I will take you with me.
You have a blessed day, Alison.
I will, and you guys too. Thank you so much for today again.
It's
Love
been
and hugs.
awesome.
Bye-bye.
Love and hugs.
Love.
It's my time too. I'm gonna run. Awesome being.
Yeah, you have a beautiful day, Sandrell.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Jesse. Have a blessed day, all of you. Love and hugs to everyone who's also listening in.
Even on
Bye.
replay.
Yeah.